With the release of Chapter 5, we have all new mechanics with projectile weapons and a completely revamped movement system, and with FNCS Week 1 behind us, I think it's time to rank the top 10 duos in NA. You can also say these are my FNCS predictions, but this is the most unpredictable FNCS of all time. Anybody in the top 5 can easily win. But before we get into the honorable mentions, make sure you guys subscribe and consider becoming a member. Members get cool perks like having me added on Fortnite to helping me decide what video I make next. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you guys go to the first link in the description. Also, last thing before we get into the video, I'm officially a free agent and open to sponsorships. So if you would like to contact me about those, my business email is in the description. Starting off our honorable mentions, we have Yummy and Vert. While I wouldn't be surprised if they came top 10 in grand finals, I can't put them any higher because they just started playing together. And since they started duoing, they've came 8th in the most recent Duo Cash Cup and 10th in FNCS Week 1 finals. Next up for honorable mentions, we have Scented and Tahi. They just started duoing in Chapter 5 and they have already placed 6th in the first Duo Cash Cup and have already qualified to Heats. If this duo happened 2 years ago, they would easily win FNCS, with Scented being the best low ground IGL and Tahi being the best high ground fragger. So if they can roll the years back for grand finals, I wouldn't be surprised if they came top 5. Our next honorable mention has to be Blake and Macwood. Blake and Macwood duoed in Chapter 4 Season 3, where they were one of the most dominant height teams and qualified to grand finals. But since they started duoing again in Chapter 5, they've went back to dominating height, but the reason I put them in honorable mentions is because they are a height or nothing team. They either take height and win the game or die off spawn because they land snooty steps for the mythic Peter Pump. Next up for honorable mentions, we have Bryce X and Chubbs. Since they started duoing, they've came 7th and 4th in grand finals and came 6th at the global championship. They were easily the most underrated team in the past couple of seasons, but in Chapter 5, they haven't been able to repeat their success. Whether that be due to drop spots or the new mechanics, but I'm confident they will be able to figure it out for grand finals, and I wouldn't be shocked if they place top 5 again. Our second to last honorable mention is going to be Clix and Epic Whale. Clix and Epic Whale are easily two of the best players of all time on their own, but together they can never get it done. But in Chapter 5, you can see a clear improvement of their placements, with them placing 6th and 3rd in Cash Cup finals this season. I have a feeling that this season they'll show their true potential because there's no reason two of the best players of all time should be struggling in grand finals. But our last honorable mention has to be Skittles and Trashy. Since they started duoing, they have placed 24th in the Duo Cash Cup finals, which is very good for their first time playing together. And in FNCS the next day, they placed top 20 in every round with a 5th and a 3rd in rounds 2 and 3. I have them as my last honorable mention because I am convinced they will place top 5 in grand finals, but I can't put them on the actual top 10 list because they've played together for 5 days as I'm recording this. Now that we've gotten the honorable mentions out of the way, we go into the top 10, and starting off the top 10, we have Paper and Muzz. While playing together, they placed 11th in grand finals, qualifying to the global championship where they came 30th after being contested. In FNCS Week 1, they came 5th in finals and had another 5th and a 9th in the other rounds. Paper and Muzz are easily a top 10 duo on NA, with Muzz's tier 1 mechanics and Paper starting to really come into his own as an IGL. But for the 9th best duo in NA, we have Bucky and Ocus. They made it to the global championship, but Bucky got disqualified for breaking Danish laws, so that means Ocus had to play solo for both days. While playing solo, Ocus was almost able to qualify for the finals, which is crazy to do against the best players in the world. That shows how good Ocus is as a solo player, and in another video, I said Ocus was my pick to win a solo FNCS if we ever had one again. And even though Bucky got disqualified, he is still coming into his own as an IGL, and with Chocolat coaching them, I think they can easily place top 3. Having a tier 1 fragger and a tier 2 fragger that's also a good IGL makes for a crazy duo that has potential to solo clutch from any zone. Also, if you don't know who Chocolat is or what a coach does for a duo, basically Chocolat is the best coach in the world as of right now. The placements his duos have achieved while he's coaching them is insane. Not only is he Bucky and Ocus's coach, he also coaches the global championship winners Cooper and Miro, and on EU he coaches Moneymaker and Fanayan. Coaches are basically another IGL in the call, telling them what they think the rotate should look like and keeping them calm. A coach is the most important thing to have in grand finals. You need someone else to validate the IGL's calls and to keep the vibes high. Having a coach is basically cheating the way that you have somebody in your call watching things you're not focused on and reminding you what to do and to stick to your game plan. For the 8th best duo on NA, we have Kanata and Agers. Even though they won the most recent FNCS and 5-1 to Malabuka and Thomas HD off spawn at the Global Championship, they haven't been able to stay as consistent in Chapter 5. That's a trend you will start to notice as we get higher up the list. The teams that I have ranked higher have already adapted to the new meta and new mechanics in Chapter 5. And that's the reason they are ranked so high, because they have good placements, because there's only a few teams that have adapted so far. In Chapter 5, Kanata and Agers have placed 14th and 8th in the Cash Cup finals and placed 14th in FNCS Week 1 finals. If Kanata and Agers continue to adapt, their placements will continue to get better, and with a little luck, they might even be able to go back to back for the first time since Bugha in Chapter 3 Season 1. The 7th best duo on NA has to be Dukes and Threats. The game has adapted so much that one of the best mechanical players in the world in Dukes and the best aimer on NA and Threats are only ranked 7th. In their first event playing together, they came 3rd in the first Cash Cup finals of Chapter 5. And in FNCS Week 1, they placed 9th, almost guaranteeing qualification for the upper bracket of heats. The only problem I see in this team is the lack of an IGL, but since they are both veteran players, I think they can place top 5. For number 6, we have the reigning champions Cooper and Miro. While their performance at Copenhagen was legendary, I don't see them coming top 5. They are both some of the best players in the game, but even though I called Miro the GOAT, he is known not to grind. And in Chapter 5, with a change of simple mechanics in the game, the only way you are going to place top 5 in this grand finals is by grinding the game and adapting. I'm a big Miro fan, so I hope he does prove me wrong, but as long as he's not grinding, I see them struggling. Their best Cash Cup placement this season was 4th in the first finals of the season while everybody was still learning the mechanics. Even though Miro hasn't been grinding, they were still able to pull off 6th place in FNCS Week 1 finals. The 5th best duo on NA has to be Yamzo and Rise. Together they have placed 3rd, 4th, and 3rd in grand finals and are easily the most consistent team on Central through 2 seasons. On Central, they have placed top 3 in 18 duo Cash Cups. Rise is easily one of the most underrated IGLs, and I honestly think he's on the same level as Zayt. The way he thinks about the game and knows what everybody around him is gonna do is unmatched. Through the 4 rounds of FNCS Week 1, Yamzo and Rise had an average placement of 11th, which is what they placed in Week 1 finals. Yamzo and Rise are easily one of the few teams that have been able to adapt to the new mechanics and the meta, and I don't see them not placing top 5. They might even be able to win their first FNCS Grand Finals this season. But for the 4th best duo in NA, we have Bugha and Aviv. Now this is where I think any of these teams have a good chance of winning Grand Finals. Every one of these teams have not only adapted to the new mechanics and the meta, they are playing insane like we've never seen before. Bugha is easily one of the most influential players of all time with the way he thinks about the game and his ideology. Everybody Bugha plays with becomes a smarter and better player. And Aviv, on the other hand, is one of the most underrated players of all time. His mechanics and aim are unlike anybody else's, and that's why he gets so many cheating accusations. Since Bugha and Aviv started duoing in Chapter 5, they have placed 3rd, 9th, and 7th in Duo Cash Cup finals. And in FNCS Week 1 finals, they came 3rd, guaranteeing they make the upper bracket of heats. I think Bugha and Aviv have a chance to win grand finals, but it's not going to be easy to beat this top 3. Speaking of top 3, the 3rd best duo on NA has to be Acorn and Cold. In their first FNCS playing together, Acorn and Cold won by over 50 points. After winning their first FNCS playing together, they placed 6th in grand finals in back-to-back seasons and finished 7th at the Global Championship while contested. What makes Acorn and Cold so good is their ability to be so cohesive. I've never seen a duo be so coordinated before. It's like they know what the other one is thinking without even saying it. Acorn and Cold have cemented themselves as the most dominant and consistent duo on NA Central. Whenever somebody asks me who do they VOD review to get better, and without even asking their playstyle, I automatically say Acorn and Cold. I say Acorn and Cold because they are just better than everybody at everything. In Chapter 5, they have already won 2 out of the 4 duo Cash Cups in the season, and they have also punched their ticket into the upper bracket of heats by placing 4th in FNCS Week 1 finals. For the 2nd best duo on NA, we have most people's favorite to win FNCS Grand Finals, Reet and Ritual. The reason I have them at 2 when they're most people's favorite to win is because not only do I think they will be contested at Reckless Railways, controller players always struggle with Surge in Grand Finals, but Reet is not any ordinary controller player. You cannot compare anybody to his ability to get refreshes whenever he wants, but with the new guns being projectile, I think he will struggle. Since they started duoing in Chapter 4 Season 3, they placed 10th in Grand Finals and ended up getting 9th at the Global Championship, which is crazy for what I was talking about with Surge, but those were also hit scan weapons, but still impressive nonetheless. Bree and Ritual are most people's favorite to win grand finals because not only did they win round 3 and finals of FNCS week 1 by 200 points, but in finals they were able to have an average eliminations of 10, which is insane in a tier 1 lobby. But not only did they have an average eliminations of 10, they also won 5 of their 8 games. And in the 3 games they didn't win, they died off spawn twice and placed second. I think the only way Reet and Ritual are able to win FNCS is if they key a team for Surge, which I don't doubt they will. But I think their best chance is to be contested for free Surge and elimination points. But that leaves us with the best duo on NA, and my pick to win FNCS, it has to be Peterbot and Poyo. Since they started duoing in Season OG, they won 2 out of the 4 duo skirmishes, won a duo cash cup while conned by cheaters, and won 3 out of the 6 games. They also placed second in FNCS Week 1 finals. But what makes them so good is their fighting capabilities. In the Solo Victory Cup finals this season with the new mechanics and meta, they have both been able to set kill records. This season, in the finals of the Solo Victory Cup, Peterbot and Poyo have combined for 11 wins, with both of them having 4 wins with at least 35 eliminations. They are both the best at keying on NA, and the fact that they are a duo makes them unstoppable. I thought not having an IGL would hold them back, but being able to win 3 out of the 6 games in a duo cash cup while being contested by cheaters shuts that down so fast. I think Peterbot and Poyo are easily going to win FNCS this season and probably win another one before the end of the chapter. What Peterbot and Poyo have been able to do in solos this season has never happened before and will never happen again. And that's why they are going to win FNCS this season. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Leave your predictions down in the comments and let me know what I got wrong, because I know you guys love to do that. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and consider becoming a member. And also make sure you guys look at my community tab. There's some big things going on in there right now. But until next time, see you guys later.